look at how much you've already recalled. Again, if you're not comfortable with slope, I want you to stop right now and talk with your instructor until you are comfortable with slope. But once you are, let's go ahead and look at some more things here. You need to know what the standard form of an equation looks like. So let me give you an example. Now, if you're using the textbook, you can follow along with me. I'm just using their examples. I'm on page 158. If your teacher has given you a textbook that was printed at a text company, I'm looking at page 158. The standard form of an equation is this: ax plus by equals c. And a must be a whole number, which is not going to be relevant for us. But that's, in math theory, that's the form of an equation in standard. Now, I'll be honest with you, I rarely use this form. When I was teaching, usually we're going to have slope-intercept form. But I do want you, in case you're moving on to college, you do need to know what standard form looks like, and this is it. So here's an example. Let's just copy this example down. It says to write 4y equals 2x minus 5 in standard form. Now, I don't want to do that in most situations. I would prefer it in the form it's in right here. But that's not what they're telling me to do. So again, if my professor says you need to write this in standard form, I need to do what he's telling me, or she. So here's how I would explain this. I would have you to copy that equation down on your scrap paper, and I would have you to draw a T-chart. Draw it right through the equal sign. Okay. And then I'm going to come back over here to my pattern. This is the pattern of the equation. And I'm going to fill in those pieces. So they want me to have the x's and the y's on this side. And then the c, I call that the constant. That's just a constant term on that side. A constant is just a number with no letter. It can have decimals or fractions. It can be positive or negative. It just can't have letters. So let's study this situation and see what we need to do. I have a positive y right there. That's a positive 4. So that condition is already met. I have a constant over here, the negative 5. So who needs to move? Which term is on the wrong side of the T-chart? Well, it's this fella, right? He's supposed to be over here with the x's. So I need to move that 2x. And I'm going to do that with the opposite. You move with opposites. And I'm just going to bring it right over here. This will cancel away to nothing. But then I've moved it over to the other side of the problem. And look at what we have. My professor would be happy with me right here, because I have the x term. It can be negative. It's no problem. Plus the y term. And the pattern says that it needs to be a plus sign right there. So I would then have the equal sign and the constant. And that is our answer. We have transferred this equation that they gave us into the standard form, where you have x's and then y's and then a constant. Okay. All right. If you do not understand this example, I would stop, talk with your instructor before you move on. But if you followed that one, let's move forward. Now I'm going to show you, or remind you, hopefully remind you, about slope-intercept form. This is my favorite. My brain, after doing math for so many years, will automatically work a problem around so that it's in this form, because that's where my brain is comfortable. So slope-intercept is this. This is the pattern. Y equals mx plus b. Now we know what m is. Remember what that little m stands for? That is your slope. But let me tell you about this little b. Now this is not to be confused with this great big B that is in standard form. All right? So let's put in what this little b represents. This is called the y-intercept. And what that means, if you may have forgotten, is where the line, the proper name or term is bisect, but I'm going to use crosses just because that's a little easier to understand. The Y, the tall axis. Okay, that is what's meant by that little b. So to use this process, I need to know the slope, and I need to know where the line crosses the y-axis. So here's the first example, and I'm not going to draw a graph on this one. I'm just going to give you the problem. I am going to change color. Write the equation so that is my goal. It's to turn out an equation of the line. So they tell me that it's linear. It's a straight line with slope of -5 and y-intercept 4. Now, I've seen students literally, visibly panic when they see this problem because it's like reading a foreign language, okay? I knew as their instructor that they know what to do. They just don't know that they know what to do. So let's break this down. Let's see what they're telling me here. First of all, they want me to turn out an equation. They give me slope, and lo and behold, they give me y-intercept. So they have given me the pieces of this puzzle. They have told me that m, slope, is -5, and that the y-intercept is +4. They tell me that right there. And they want me to write an equation. Well, I know the pattern right here, so that's what I need to use. I need to say y equals m, which is -5, and that will go always with the x, plus the y-intercept is 4. And that's what we're looking for. That's the equation in slope-intercept form that we want. So just by looking at that equation, I could tell you that we're going down the stairs because slope is negative. We're going down 5 and over 1, down 5 and over 1 every step of the way, because that -5 is the slope for this problem. Okay, so what if they give me, let me think, I'm looking at the example. Okay, this is a good problem. I'm on page 159, just in case you're wondering, and it's example 3. But for those of you who may not have a book, let's just go ahead and write the problem. A line has a slope of 3. I'm just going to use my math notation and not have to write all that. And contains the point 2, 7. Write the equation in slope-intercept form. Actually, let's say write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. And we are going to have to use some substitution here. Hopefully you have had some experience with that in your algebra class. If not, you can follow me here. It shouldn't be too horrific. So let's look at what they say in this problem. Because again, I'll have students to tell me, I've never seen this before. You may be thinking that. I've never seen that before. But you did in the example just above. But here's the key. You have to figure out what they're saying. They give you slope, and I'm going to go ahead and write this down. They give you a point. Now, what that means is that the x is 2 and the y is 7. So they've given me 3 values. And they want me to write an equation. What's the value that they did not give me? Which letter do I need for my pattern that I don't know? We don't know what B is. So you and I are going to have to do some solving here. And you say, well, y is 7. Yes. But is that where it crosses the y-axis? It may be, it may not be. We don't know that. So we have to find B. That's the first step in this process, is finding out this. We know slope, we know an x, and we know a y, but we need to know B. Baby B, not tall b. So here's what I do. I take what I know to find what I don't know. I'm going to use the pattern, the slope-intercept form. That's another thing that I need to mark here. They told me which pattern to use. It's not standard. It's slope-intercept. And that's where I know to get that formula. Okay. So I know y. It's 7. We know slope. That's 3. We know x is 2. But it's baby b that we don't know. We're about to know. So I have 7 equals 3 times 2. That's 6 plus baby b. I will subtract 6 from both sides. And I realize then that baby b is 1. Now, using my same pattern, we're still in that slope-intercept form, we're going to say y equals m, that's 3, x plus, we just found baby b. This is the equation of the line. And you say, well, you didn't use the 2 or the 7 in the equation. No, I used the 2 and the 7 to find baby B. So I used the 2 and the 7 here, and then I used baby B in that equation. That's not an easy question. You have to really know what they're asking for, and you have to know what the M, the X, the Y, and the B mean, and you have to know what slope-intercept means. So this is getting harder, and that's how the test works. You may have a very, no, I won't say a very easy question, but you may have an easier question, and then all of a sudden you have one that is not easy at all. They're testing your knowledge of 12 years plus of math. Okay, if you're feeling overwhelmed, stop the video. Tell your instructor, I need some help with slope-intercept form before I go any further. Just to remind you, we started out drawing stair steps. Then we went down the stairs with rise over run. And now we're not even talking about rise over run, other than we're talking about it in terms of the letter M. Because remember, anywhere you see the letter M, you can substitute rise over run. All right, I'm going to stop this video, give you a chance to process what you've seen, and then we have one more formula, I believe, just point slope. Actually, yes, I'm going to just do point slope, and then I will let it go. So we have one more formula, and we'll start the functions course.